Jeannie to the meeting. Good morning. And I wanted to welcome Anna to the meeting. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So what I wanted to do is just start off our meeting and just remind everybody what the mission is for our group, the Older Adult Collaborative. Mission is to proactively serve and educate each other in pursuit of synergistic solutions for seniors. And our vision is to create a unified senior resource team to support each other and the seniors that we serve. So I'm just so proud to be a part of this group with all of you ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just really looking forward to an opportunity to just see our group grow and expand. And hopefully with the new year starting to approach, we'll see some changes next year that will allow us to meet in person. So I'm really optimistic about that. I wanted to introduce our speakers this morning. We have Gail Arno and Maureen Lauren joining us, and they're going to be sharing with us a little bit more about elder care management. And just looking forward to hearing about kind of the who, what, where's, and whys of that, and helping to just kind of educate all of us. So I don't know if Maureen, you're going to lead off, or Gail's going to lead off. So I'll just let whichever one of you guys have decided is going to lead off, jump on.
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for having us. It's nice to meet everyone this morning. And Gail is going to give us a brief little PowerPoint presentation, kind of a care management 101, what we do, who we are, and really helping individuals know when to connect with care management services. So I think Gail can share her screen, hopefully, and start giving you some information. And then, of course, if you have questions, please chime in and let us know. And I'm, just so you know, I'm the outreach coordinator, so I help facilitate these opportunities to connect with individuals, educate people on what care management is. A lot of times people think care management is in-home care, and it's very different. So Gail, being our director of care management, has a lot of insight to share on that. So Gail, take it away.
Okay, well, let's start with finding the right PowerPoint. Sorry, folks. Let's see, here we go. Let's hope. Am I sharing that properly? No. Okay, share screening has stopped as window has closed. Let's go up here. Sorry. Looking for the condensed version. No, that's not it. Okay, Maureen, let's see.
I wonder if I could share.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, guys, this is my weakness.
So take your time.
Here, Gail, I've got it.
You've got it? Okay,
yeah.
You are a peach. Thank you. Okay. I think that's the, oh yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you.
Let's see if it's going to actually start. So there we go.
Maximize. Perfect. Well, and thank you, Maureen. Once again, thank you. Thank you all for giving us the opportunity to just give you a little bit about, tell you a little bit about elder care management, and then hopefully give you a background about care management, and then tools and options in your area, because as I'm sure you guys are aware, we're primarily in the Sacramento area at this time, but we'd love to branch out. So, you know, put that in the back of your mind. We'd love to find a partner in your area that we could work with as well to come join us in this effort, because I believe personally this is a big part of what our seniors will experience as they get older, is this need for some support and advocacy. And that's really who, what, and where and why we are. And this just is a little background. Our organization came together about, it'll be 11 years ago. It was actually a little bit of a brainchild of myself and Ginger McMurtry, who's now retired and enjoying grandparenthood. I'm terribly jealous, but I know that I will get there one day soon myself. But we both of us having a 2-decade long career in this aging process, felt that this was an entity, an element that certainly we could grow and touch and create. We were not the first to create this by any stretch of the imagination. So as much as we'd love to say that, we are not. This industry has been around many, many years, but it's been more prevalent in the Southern California area and heavily prevalent in the Bay Area, as it might be. So Ginger and I sat down and mapped out the Sacramento area. And again, I'd love to start mapping out as we head toward Stockton, Modesto, Stanislaus. I'd love to see us grow in that area because I think there are families and seniors who would benefit from our services. So we in our organization currently are 6 care managers strong, with our heaviest lifter being Maureen, who gets us out of all of our scrapes and worries and shares with the world who we are. So she is the wind beneath our wings. But we are either bachelor or master level educated individuals. We have 2 registered nurses who are on our staff. We are delighted to have those nurses, but let me throw you the caveat that we do not practice nursing. Our nurses have to be under a doctor's order, but what is wonderful are med trays that we can fill for families when there is particularly a caregiving agency in the home and they can't fill a med tray. We can fill a med tray. We can oversee a med tray. We can make orders. We can make calls to doctors and say, are you sure this is what you ordered? Or could you look at the med list and I see some contraindications or worries in regards to medication. So our nurses are fantastic. They have taken off their stringent, beautiful nursing hat and they've added kind of a half nursing hat, half care manager hat. And they're managing beautifully, growing every day. And they don't feel, I think, I shouldn't speak for them, but they don't feel the burden day to day of what I think our nursing world is burdened with these days. And they're both delighted. One in particular had a 30-year history with home health and hospice. So we've got that hospice side of the world covered. I can't tell you the number of times we've given Denise, our RN, a call and said, can you go out, tell me what it looks like? What is it? What direction should we be headed in? They are just amazing support systems. And again, not practicing nursing per se, but really guiding us to when to raise the flag up that pole and fight and advocate for our families and our clients. And the rest of us are just day in and day out care managers. We are a 24/7 service. So when we have a client who goes down at 2 a.m., we get out of bed, we go off, we join them either at the ER, at the hospital, at the facility, at their home, and we have help to navigate. I think Ginger and I felt we'd arrived when about 5 years ago, we got to hire a weekend on-call person. So 5 o'clock on Friday, we hand those phones and all the details of our clients over to that weekend person, and she is on. And of course, we're always in the background and ready and willing, but boy, we can breathe, we can relax, we can regroup and reset for the following week with our clients. So again, as the slide says here, we are health and human service specialists. We support, we guide, we advocate, we fight, we scratch, we kick for older adults and their families. One of the things that's really important to let our families and our clients know is that we're not decision makers. We don't want to be in that position to make decisions. We want to empower either the client, if they're cognitive enough and capable enough to make their own decisions. I think you get a better partnership when you make your own decisions. But we also want the family or the designated person in the family or the friend to be the decision maker, and we can help educate them to making those best decisions as it might be with resources in front of them. So we step back, but we'll find if they are lacking a decision maker, we'll help them find one, an appropriate, skilled, and professional decision maker along the lines of an attorney, a guardian, a conservatorship, a fiduciary, you name it, we'll try to find that resource to help enlighten them and get them the partnership that they might need. I think one of the greatest graces and wonderful elements of this, the work that we do, is that we do take a very holistic, client-centered approach to the understanding of what the needs are of our clients. And then we gear our answers, our solutions to those particular needs and at times very challenging situations. Of late, I've had a couple of inquiries with families, and their inquiry has been along the lines of, could you just give me a checklist? You know, do you have a template for what we do? And we don't have a template because each scenario is very unique. You know, some individuals have families, some don't have families, some have families that talk, some don't have families that talk. So we are there to get into position to support them the best way that we can. So no, a template doesn't exist, but upon details and background and a meeting, in-person meeting of the individual, I can then create a template that is personalized and specific to their concerns and their needs. We assist our clients at home in RCFEs, both large and small. I'm an RCFE certified administrator and embarrassingly have been for 24 years. I also teach occasionally for an organization that recertifies, that does CEUs and initial certification for RCFE administrators and skilled nursing facility administrators as well. So I have a good understanding of Title 22, the rules and regulations, and I'm pretty current on that. So I can be a good help to guide families and set realistic expectations of the scenario that they're engaged in. I'm not an advocate for picking up a senior and moving them frequently. They are not checkers on a checkerboard, and they need to be respected. Move and change is difficult for those of us who even have a cognitive ability, and that I am thoroughly in awe of those who have lesser cognitive ability and worries and concerns and how they adapt to change along the way. Again, we are a 24/7 service. We attend doctor's appointments. It's one of the greatest elements, I think, of what we do. We are scribes. We will write down every detail. I can't tell you the number of clients that have said, oh, you don't need to come in, and I sort of muscle my way into the appointment or on the telemedicine appointment as well. That's a good, strong strength that we've really attended to since the pandemic began. And I just gently muscle my way in. We make a list of questions before we go. We look at stats. I detail it all. 99.9% of the clients look at me halfway through and say, I'm so glad you're here and taking some notes, because I couldn't hear what he said. What did he say? So it's a delight. We can then get that detailed information back to the family and or the responsible party, and then follow up on what those directions or changes might be. I'll get orders from the doctor if they are in an RCFE, and I'll get those back to the RCFE, because oh so often the doc changes the game plan and sends you on your way, and there's no order, there's no direction. I know for a fact that the med rooms and the individuals in those facilities need written orders, even if it's just for Tylenol or Metamucil. They need an order for all of that. So we'll make sure that gets in writing, etc. We'll go to the hospital. Sometimes we get in lately, sometimes we don't. We'll go to the hospital with knowledge. We have all of their documentation available on a HIPAA app on our phone, from their pulse to their advanced healthcare directive to their current med list, to their Medicare and supplement information or insurance information, to their emergency contacts. We have that all available and are a plethora of information, which our client can't be when they're in a precarious situation like that. I have spent more time than I care to tell you about in court, either substantiating the lack of capacity or the need for service and support. We're very happy to do that. And be that supportive mechanism to make sure safety stays in place. This morning, I've already filed an APS report on a client that took off yesterday from home. in her skivvies, no footwear. And when the police brought her back, only about 3 blocks away, she wondered who in the heck would go out in their skivvies like that. So she was pretty doggone confused, but we're laying some groundwork for, unfortunately, for a conservatorship. And sometimes this is the stuff we have to sort of let crescendo happen safely, and then we can document and move on. We are exclusively care management. We do not do referrals and placement. We do not do caregiving. We farm that out to vetted services that will support and provide the actual care, the support, the transaction that's needed. At our price point, it's neither wise, efficient, or nor our specialty to be doing a number of other things. But don't get me wrong, I'm not above cleaning a litter box if I'm visiting a client, assisting with the change of depends. I actually at one point was able to track down, get this one, a gunsmith, bring them into the home of the client. In lieu of taking his guns, we had the firing pins jammed while he was out at lunch with a caregiver, and brought him back to his home, and those guns were minimized. They were still in his presence. They meant so much to him, but we found that workaround to make sure that his dignity and his grace was protected, and the caregivers felt comfortable, as it might be, because that's a key and critical element as well. So who do we serve? It is a plethora of individuals, and there's no, again, no template for this. It may be a family that's involved, but they're not in the area. So we're the feet on the ground. We'll sometimes call ourselves the daughter for hire, but with a neutral viewpoint and some pretty strong claws that we're going to get in there and claw our way through the transaction. At the same turn, many of our clients have no family at this stage. They did not have children. Maybe their children have preceded them in death, unfortunately. They may live thousands of miles away. So again, there is just a variety that come our way. As you can see in the third bullet point here, oftentimes we get the family that's in a bit of discord. And I had that yesterday. I did an hour-long conference with a family and 3 daughters. And I was, you could cut the tension with a knife, and we were all on Zoom. One would ask a question and the next under her breath would say, well, that was a dumb question. And I finally had to say, let's be respectful of one another. We're just trying to get information across the pathway here. There's no right or wrong. Let's just agree that we're working on planning, if nothing else. So we get those very complicated family dynamics. And they wouldn't call us if it were simple. That's what we have kind of the conclusion we've drawn. Ginger was so wonderful as my mentor to say to me often, Gail, we didn't cause these family dynamics, and we're not going to likely solve these family dynamics. We're going to peel back the onion ever so gently, and we're going to go at that which we can support and provide resources for. Solving their uniqueness, I'm good, but I'm not that good. That's not my tool belt, one iota. But we'll listen, we'll be neutral, and we'll speak up professionally, gently, but attentively. Sometimes our clients come to us in the bittermost of a crisis, and we are the ones that sort of sort out the very quick answers and the quick resolution, and then start that process of better planning. We are reactive. We prefer to be proactive, and we talk with families about that all the time. I'm a huge believer right now that we're in a bit of a crisis, as everyone is. We're in that crisis. That is the pandemic. And now you take a broken hip and no POA and some cognitive challenges, and you are in a much deeper crater than you had been in initially. So we have all been huge proponents of late to say, the crisis hit, and what is your plan, A, B, and C, in regards to should this crisis, should there be some piling on to this crisis, I should say. And I think that is surprising. I can't tell you the number of individuals and a husband and wife, and you look at either the husband or wife that is their sole safety net, and you say to the healthier, quote unquote, healthier one, what happens when you go down? What happens to her? What happens to him? Well, I don't want to talk about that. I don't think that's going to happen. Well, we tend to let everybody know that while amazing, people are amazing, nobody's getting off this planet alive, and you have to have plans. And you have to have plan A, plan B, and even plan C. Because again, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what that path looks like, but we will try and set up a plan that is in reserve for the possibilities that could occur. It's very difficult, I think, for many people to face that. They think if they talk about it, it's going to happen. My fear is if we don't talk about it, then it's going to happen. And that's a hard dynamic to get through. A lot of very proud, very stoic, very strong individuals. We work a lot with the courts, conservators, fiduciaries, guardians, etc., to help. They're wonderful souls. They get assigned this client, and they do not love the 2 a.m. phone calls. You'd think I was nuts if I told you we don't mind the 2 a.m. phone calls. No, we don't love it, but we are happy to do that. That's our strength. We don't deal with money. We don't deal with decision making, but we sure deal with the messes that come as a result of the need for follow-up on that. So I think, again, our strength, definitely. And then that family where the support system is just not available. It's oftentimes, and those of you who deal a lot with RCFE or skilled nursing settings, we love the clients. It's the families we want to evict or drop kick. We feel similarly sometimes, the families and their dynamics. We try to be extraordinarily professional, certainly in front of them, but every once in a while, I think we just kind of shake our head and wonder, wow, what happened there? But nonetheless, let's get this solved. So we get that very challenging family and that support system. So many times people say, I have this great safety net. Well, we can just see these huge holes in the safety net that they've put around their individuals. So I think we are always happy to talk with anyone in regards to their interest. We do a free phone consultation to any length. So we'll talk with anybody about, are we really ideal for the services, and we'll guide them to services in your area as well if they want to even call and just investigate what care management is all about. So again, we look at those complex medical issues. We talk with our nurses. We get some guidelines on language to use and how to get in the back door of a doctor's office. If I had a nickel for everyone who was resistant to care, I would be talking to Ellen and her audience, not to this wonderful audience, because I would be a genius and I'm not quite there. But we have figured out really good ways in which to make the client feel as if they've made the decision and the choice, and they tend to open their door to the care and accept. If done with grace and wisdom, we oftentimes win, and sometimes we don't win. And we empower the families to fail cautiously, fail carefully, but sometimes you have to fail before you can actually have a pretty good win in that regard. We do contend with very combative and aggressive behaviors. Again, can't tell you the number of times. Remember, not so long ago, I was with a client prior to COVID, with a client in the hospital who just had a hip replacement. He was pretty aggressive, and I kept warning the nurses as they came in, careful, he can throw an arm, be careful. And they were all, oh, thank you so much, thank you so much. They finally left the room, and I toddled on up and whispered in his ear, and doggone it if he didn't throw an arm and I didn't duck. So again, practice what I preach and get it right. But I was so worried about protecting others that I forgot about myself. Thankfully, he didn't do too much damage. Maybe knocked a little sense into me, who knows. We always want to get to the root of a poor decision maker. Again, these are historical issues typically. I don't think we all of a sudden become poor decision makers. There's fear, there's worry, there's indecision. There are all kinds of reasons for these poor decision makers. If we can get to the root of that and then protect them again with this greater and better laid safety net, then those poor decision makers will land much better on their feet when all is said and done. We're very happy to contend with that non-compliance. I think we're all non-compliant at certain moments, but far more concerning for our seniors as they meander through this world of aging. It is, I remember in graduate school, it was so interesting. I don't know why this resonated so well with me, but I use this as a visual for a lot of my clients. I remember as a child, and this will date me most dramatically, but I'm willing to go there quite readily, that when I was little and I had 4 brothers, no sisters, so and we were a fairly physical home, we had a Bozo the Clown. And Bozo had sand in the bottom and he was inflated, and we would punch Bozo and he'd bounce back down and he'd pop right back up. Well, I had a professor in grad school mention and talk about how as we age, we get hit, but we don't bounce right back up to dead top center. If we can get back 10 degrees shy of that, we've done beautifully. And being non-compliant just complicates that even more. So we try to work with the clients on the value of being as compliant as possible, or looking at alternatives and being creative. I think we're pretty good at thinking outside the box, definitely. I think I've been called a mediator more often than I would care to acknowledge. We are not professional mediators, and there have been a number of times where I've had to find professional mediators, particularly when it becomes really more of a legal concern, and we see brother and sister kind of, brother's angry because sister was made POA and he's sneaking in trying to do things kind of behind the back of sister who's POA. If it becomes a legal concern, we will absolutely direct an individual to a professional mediator, but we do step in and try to keep cool, calm heads in agreement as much as possible, and tend to get that buy-in if we handle that with, again, a little bit of grace. We've seen our share, as well as I'm sure you all have seen as well, victims of financial abuse, etc. We are, as you are, mandated reporters. We have no problem speaking up and voicing concerns in regards to our clients and or their responsible parties or family influencers, neighbors. Oh, guys, I ended up in court one time with a neighbor who came in. We had a client in an assisted living environment, 2 years. We finally put her house on the market, it just was time. The neighbor came in, brought an attorney, had my client sign the house over to her because, 35 years ago when they moved in, my client said to her, "I don't have any children. When I die, why don't you take my house?" And so the neighbor went about changing paperwork and the like. Yeah, we had the house in escrow, and the selling agent called and said, "Gail, that house isn't in her name." I said, "Well, it's her house." And it took us a little while to peel that onion back. Boy, did that one stink. We ended up getting that house back in my client's name, sold, and the neighbor just kind of really just kept falling back on. But 35 years ago, she told me I could have that house. Well, careful what you say in passing, folks, because people could hold you to that. So be careful there. And then we are seeing, this is really the challenge right now. I think for many of us are seeing so much more prevalent mental health issues, coupled at times with dementia diagnoses. And what we see here in Sacramento that is ultimately so very frustrating is the Mental Health Institute says, or industry says, "Yeah, oh, that's got dementia, that's your problem." And the dementia world says, "Oh, that's mental health, that's your problem." The two have got to get together a little bit better, because I think so often these issues go hand in hand. But we do end up with identifying significant mental health issues that probably have gone untreated, unacknowledged, or even diagnosed, etc., for a lifetime. And once again, we have to continually remind ourselves we didn't create these issues, but how do we go about gently putting some soft support around these issues? So we make it our business to try to find issues, support, and resources in both the mental health capacity and in the dementia world. I think we feel, sadly, more comfort in those worlds than we would like to admit these days. I think that bottom line there, nothing in our work is simple, but I think that's what makes our work so fulfilling and rewarding. We win, we lose, we draw very often. Again, there's just a recap of, the 6 care managers. We're eager to grow, so we need to find the right individuals, but again, a couple of those care managers. We, 2 of us are certified care managers, so we've gone through the national certification, and we have a relationship with the Aging Life Care Association. And at the bottom of this slide, you can see a reference to the Aging Life Care Association. This is a national organization that we feel very committed with. They have been in business 35 years. And they are the guiding light, the ethical guiding light, our educational resource, our conglomerate of intelligence and experience that we refer back to. And I have referred a number of clients to a couple of care managers in the Stanislaus and surrounding community very successfully. So I've been pleased with that. But the Aging Life Care is a great organization. If you have a moment to take a peek at it, I really encourage you to do that. We not only have had a 10-year, almost 11-year affiliation with them, but again, a few of us are also nationally certified, going through that extensive exam experience. We then have follow-up CEUs that we have to do for care management, CEUs for aging life, CEUs that we have to do for our national certification, and then I keep my CEUs going with the RCFB certification as well. So some days I feel like we just CEU it all the way, but we sure learn a lot, and that's very helpful. And then our second bullet point, we're quite proud of this. We're celebrating a decade of dedication. We're headed toward that 11th year. And I remember the first month that Ginger and I started. She was going to be the brains of the op, and I was going to be the one out there, seeing the clients. And the very first month, we had 21 billable hours. I thought we were all that in a bag of chips. If my care managers today, particularly my full-time, they spend a good amount of their time with clients. They bill anywhere from 95 to 125 hours individually with clients. So we've grown a nice base, and we're always looking, people are passing, as you well know, so we're always looking to add to our base and continue to assist our clients. We'll do as much or as little as our clients need. Some of our clients we see 3 times a week. Some of our clients we see once a month. We don't have any long-term deposits or engagements. It is, if it's working for them, we continue on. If it's not working, we'll either get them another referral for a care manager team, or we'll agree that they are done with the services as it might be. Our only minimum is that if we are going to provide services and be that backup mechanism for a client, we need to see them at least once a month, so we know how many times did they fall, how often have they been at the ER, what medication changes have occurred. So we can't problem solve if we don't know all the concerns that have occurred. So we're out there and we're with those clients day in and day out. We tend to kind of fall in love and stay as neutral as possible, but support them all the way through this journey. I have had clients who I have sat 36 hours straight bedside as they pass, and other clients who have passed in the middle of the night with no warning, never didn't think that would be the next one that would go for us. So we have those losses, and we try to do some self-care and make sure that we manage through those losses. But we feel honored, and just we are so grateful to have been a small part of the close of their life. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. I hope that gives you some background on care management, who we are, what we are, how we work, and how, again, we're always happy to answer questions via the phone if something comes up. If you've got a client who's just, having some challenges, we'll always go out and do a one-time assessment. We do charge for our time in that regard. But even if we can't service those individuals in the area they're in, we're happy to go out and do a one-time assessment, get a care plan written, and find resources in your community that might support them. Most importantly, though, hoping to find a care manager in their area who could pick up from where we have begun. And I think that's the important closure that we can provide to anyone who reaches out to us. I had a call yesterday in LA, got on the website, looked at who I knew from the Aging Life group, and referred the family back to 3 options, and hoping that they'll have some good luck with the Los Angeles contact there. So it's not outside. That's a worthwhile effort for all of us, definitely, for me anyway, to reach out and touch those individuals. Thank you, Maureen, for solving me and supporting me. And thank you all for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you for that presentation, Gail. Does anybody have any questions for Gail? I always like to make sure that if there's any questions, we open that up quickly for anybody to ask.
I have a quick question, and part of it's just my not knowledge about it, but just with hospice care versus what you guys are providing, I guess maybe could you shine a light on some of the differences, or
Sure. Hospice being such a wonderful support mechanism, I think what many differentials to some extent, but hopefully we have been with them longer. We have a good history. We can support the hospice team and thoroughly update them and give them a good sense of who this individual is, where they've come from, what their journey has been like. We, again, unless there's a change in status, hospice is only going to come out and administer the bathing service. Of course, the nursing, the med management. I'll come out and push morphine, guys. Not afraid to do that. Particularly if they're in a small environment, large environment, we will do that. We have no problem. We will work with hospice on it. That is not my decision volume-wise, but I will be the individual who will come every 2 hours if that's what's needed to push that morphine and make their lives gentler, calmer, and easier. We will sit with them bedside. We'll get the baby monitor. We will get the music flowing. You name it, we will get out there. And as I mentioned, the client that I mentioned earlier that I sat with for 36 hours, oh my gosh, what an interesting experience that culminated in a hospice experience. I had her for 5 years. The first year, I would meander in and say good morning and give her a hug, and she'd just go, oh God, she's touching me again. Look at that, make it stop. By year 2, she'd kind of put her arms up a little bit and hug me. By the 4th year, as we were failing and etc., she just grew to lean on me more and more. And the close of her life was 36 hours where I was able to get up 3 times and go to the bathroom. That was about the only time I could take that grip off. And she just clung to me because there just wasn't anybody else. And so there I sat, making sure that her every need and every wish was met at that moment, reassuring her that she was not alone, that she could go join her husband. She had no children. She'd alienated every family member. And again, I think hospice didn't have that background and that understanding. She was in a large RCFE, and while they were kind and wonderful, their best option was that they could come check on her every 2 hours. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So, and then we ended up coordinating her service, reaching out to friends. I made the phone calls, letting people know, letting her niece off the hook, saying, you don't have to come if you don't want to. I'm here. She's okay. You may need to come, but she may not respond. Do you understand? So we were that gentle landing spot for that niece, trying to make it work a little bit better. Hopefully that answers.
Yes, Jeannie.
Gail, hi.
Hi.
I'm with a Place for Mom, and
Yes.
It's funny, I just had, believe it or not, 3 different case managers from 3 different hospitals ask me for care management. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So you probably saw me typing. It's because I was sending an email to all three of them with your contact information,
Oh,
just to let
thank
you know.
Okay.
I told them that you could help them if it's not, in Sacramento, but you could point them and help them find it if that's okay.
Absolutely. That we're
Woo!
delighted to try to help with that.
Oh,
And Jeannie, it's you make such a good point. I can't tell you the number of times people said, "Oh, so you're a case manager." No, I do manage cases, but I'm a care manager. I'm a bit different. The care manager is going to line that exit up, but yet they line it up knowing, holy crap, this one doesn't have legs. I'm afraid, they'll be right back. And our goal is to make sure that, they aren't right back. That ability to support them to stay safely wherever they're headed.
so I had a quick question for you. Because of the pandemic, as we all know, trying to find the court-appointed care managers has been next to impossible right now, or conservators. So is it a little bit easier if I point them in your direction? Because I have, I think, 3 or 4 other cases where they're trying to get the court-appointed conservator, and it's just so backlogged. I mean, it's ridiculous. So
I would agree with that. I will be happy. Absolutely. We're experiencing that too here.
okay.
Again, this one yesterday where she was out in her bare feet and not so new bra and underpants. I had to explain to the family in Pennsylvania, we are backlogged. You don't just pick somebody up and run them to an RCFE and say, here you go.
Yeah.
Would you mind? We have to lay a little groundwork, and sometimes that's a bit of a failure. So if nothing else, we can brainstorm on, have you done this? Have you done that? Yesterday when the family called and said we had to call the police, I said, yeah, and call them tomorrow again, because along with my APS report and your 3 phone calls to the police, we may get faster attention on the need for this emergency conservatorship, as it might be. So
you guys might be hearing from me a lot then. Sorry. I'm going to tell my, I have 100 coworkers, so I'm going to send them your information as well. So that way they have it as backup. So
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll direct them in their area. I just don't want to hand you something and then leave you empty handed. We'll try to direct you in your area if we can.
You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I love this. I love this. It's so fabulous. Okay, any other quick questions? We want to make sure we wrap up by 11 o'clock, be respectful of everybody's busy work schedules. Okay, we good? All right. A little bit of housekeeping. Amy let me know that we are looking at next month and December, if we keep our meeting, is it the 4th Thursday of every month, Amy? I always forget. Yeah. So that would have us falling on Thanksgiving Day and then Christmas Eve. So we thought we would just see what the consensus is, if everyone wants to switch the day or just move the first meeting to January. So let's just do like a quick raise of hands. If you want to just switch the meeting date, raise your hand. Okay, so we have 3 people, and then to just move it to January. Okay, so it looks like 4 to 3. So we're moving it to January. Thanks for that swing vote, Crystal.
So Joyce, because the holiday season is the most needed season for seniors, Cheryl will attest to that, Lori. Is there a way that we can still continue to email back and forth to each other to help provide resources? Because it's the holidays is a super crazy time of year for seniors.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yay, thank you.
And do you have an email list, Jeannie?
No, I know Amy does. I don't have the email list.
Yes, I've got the list, and if you send anything to me, I will forward it along to everybody else. Like Carla sent me, their drive-through that they're doing. You guys all should have gotten a copy of that. So if you have anything that you want sent out to everybody, yes, for sure. Just let me know. Or there's the Facebook group where you can just post something on there. Feel free to let me know specifically, and I will send it out.
Yeah. So you can go ahead, Amy, and send out the meeting date for January and December, obviously. Okay. And then let's see if anybody wants to, you know, get anything out, any announcements or any needs, you know, if you have a need, Jeannie, if there's something that you have a need on, you can go ahead.
We're hiring in Sacramento, so if anybody knows anybody in the Sacramento area that can do what I do 24 hours a day. Right now during the pandemic, it's not a 9-to-5 thing, but anybody that would be good to work with the case managers, etc. In Sacramento, please have them call me directly, and then I can get them set up, because we really need somebody in that area.
And make sure to throw that up on our Facebook page so people can share that.
Okay, thank you.
And remind us when you post it. Say, hey, please share this, guys, you know.
We also have a networking group here in Sacramento area for hiring in the Sacramento area for seniors. So if you post it somewhere, I can also post it to that local group to try to get someone in this area.
You are awesome. Thank you, Maureen.
Yeah. And like whoever is attending our meeting today, if you can just comment on the Facebook page, like, you know, great meeting or whatever, right? And then if any of us are not already friends on Facebook, we can make sure to friend each other so that when we have this content flowing onto our Facebook page, we can all be friends and easily share content, get information out there. Okay. Let's see, any suggestions? And people could be thinking about this now because we have time. Our next meeting will be in January, but any suggestions that anybody has for speakers? We're always looking for speakers. So please be thinking about that. If anybody has anybody top of mind today, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, so you know, anybody just, you know, continue to be thinking about that. We want to have great content for all of our meetings and you know, useful and purposeful information to share. And then we'll just wrap up with any announcements anybody has they want to share with the group. We're all good? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Amy, it looks like you wanted to share something.
I was just going to see, Carla, if you wanted to just share a little bit of details about your upcoming drive-thru. I think you were trying to unmute yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me? Hi.
Hi, Carla.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to invite everyone out on October 30th. Here, we're going to have a fall festival here at Orangeburg Manor from 10:30 to 1. So we'd love to have you. So we're going to have several vendors here providing information for our seniors, but come on by. We're going to have some muffins and coffee and lunch, but just drive on by. We'd love to see you. And if you know any seniors that need some information, we'd love to have you. But give me a call if you have any questions at 209-981-7591. So thank you, Amy, and Older Adult Collaboration of Stanislaus for posting our flyer on your website and on Facebook. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Thank
Amy's
you.
pretty fabulous. All right. Well, I really appreciate everybody taking time out of their schedule to meet with us today. And here's to an optimistic outlook for 2021 when we get to meet and reconvene again. And I really hope that we'll be looking at an opportunity to start meeting together very shortly thereafter.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us. Nice to meet you all. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Too.
Thank you.
Thanks.